Hey everyone, Mrhappy here, and welcome to Mondays with Mrhappy, aka Mrhappy Mondays, a weekly Q&A show where you ask me questions and I answer them. So let's just go right into the sponsor list, because I've been taking too long at the start of episodes, so let's not do that this time. Anyway, we're going to be thanking our sponsors at the top of the show this week. So for those of you who don't know, we have a Patreon that specifically supports battling hashtag demonetized over on YouTube, which has been making a minor resurgence lately when I thought we had kind of been a little bit past the issue. It's also just there for people who want to support the channel in any sort of extra way. Get a little shout out here on the show, and I do read DMs from a lot of the people who send them to me over on Patreon. Some people send me ideas for stuff. Some people send me suggestions for certain things, and totally welcome. But I'm going to thank our patron of light first, Khuja across the Jenova server. He's been one of our supporters who's been above and beyond when it comes to the support over on the channel. Hangs out in the Twitch chat as well, so it's cool to have you around. This week, I promise I'll remember to put the picture on the screen. I had forgotten to do it the prior week, but he didn't say anything to me, so I'll just remember to do it because you're a big supporter, and I shouldn't be forgetting those kind of things. And then we have all of our other sponsors. We have our standard sponsors, Red Wings of the Baron FC from Zalera, Fray Blackheart, Cidus, Oreo, and Shiva, Syd Hellwind of Gilgamesh, Afro Ninja from Malboro, Cheesecake from Leviathan, Sploda, That Lame Weeb, Ashen, Emiya of Cerberus, Argoti, Tristam on Midgardsormr, Fafarian, Rendil, Giraffeswillrule, Stevie-Rex, and Neon. We have our elite sponsors. We have Sarah and the Avalanche family on Malboro Avalanche, Jonua Odin of Tonberry, Nyark Vizsla, the Emerald Dragoon, Kipkin the Grey Eagles on Exodus, Dark Graver, Cat Ayoshi from Khuja, Skia Symphonia from Ragnarok, Rah Xephon from Exodus, Rynoet Westos the Purple Warrior, Adric Red Steel on Exodus, Lexxie Valentine, Mantaru the Rivivus FC from Zodiac, Sarah Chives from Jenova, Rynoet Chikara, Guisha Valfer of Siren, First of Fairy, Phoenix Free Company on Goblin, and Saren from Zodiac. And finally, we have our premium sponsors, Diablo, Holy Tabasco, Red Thorn Asura, Kurenai Oni, Asken Hawk from Shiva, Oscar, Crash015, Mustang, the Serenity FC on Ultros, Kat Kazuma, Serial, Kira, and the Reckless Tea Party on Cactar, Ignis Fairgun from Diablos, Valestra of Famfrit, Nox Cordis from Excalibur, Krovos Moonscar, Nakaneame of Balmung, Private Mikey, Spike, Nani Kirasame, Rudy Rudiger, Tin Colossus, Killer Hackman, Rawl Jr., Ramil Gaming, and Killtastic Jones. It's a long list, so I like to get through the names really quick. But thank you to all our Patreon sponsors. Appreciate your continued support of the channel over on Patreon. On that note, let's get into the questions. Looks like I got about 8 questions over on the forums, and then we'll take any Twitch chat questions that I can actually take. So let's get started. Sorry if you hear the air running in the background or if it makes a sound. It's on, and it's hot in California, all right? So we have the first question, and it is a wordy one. Hey, Haps, how you doing? You doing all right? I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, but you doing all right, so I don't need to ask you how you doing. Long-time listener, first-time asker, with a bonus of a rushed implementation of your favorite aquatic football game. I don't like you. Immediately. That is not a good first impression, but I'll still answer your question. My question is, I've played 14 in WoW, back and forth. Hey, that's right in line with some of the videos I'm going to be releasing soon. I want to hear your thoughts on this statement. Feel like World of Warcraft respects your time as a player more than 14 does. By respect your time, I mean grants you the ability to play for a few hours a day and make meaningful progress in some way. My reason is threefold. Using RNG for relic drop steps is inferior to the 100% drop rate, but 14 has no meaningful progression at max level outside of getting gear or leveling alts, and its world content is largely irrelevant at max level. So, okay, details on point 1. Using RNG to space out drops is inferior compared to having a 100% drop rate, but inflating the amount of items you need. Well, that's good, because that's how we have. Every single piece of content you do will progress your relic weapon. Well, the way we have our relic now is not really RNG. The only thing that's really RNG right now for our relic, the current one, the Eureka one, is whether or not you get that first protean crystal. After that, it's all notorious monsters and how many protean crystals you get if you were to do a normal leveling process. We don't really have RNG in our in our relic anymore. I totally agree with you that RNG to space it out is not as good, depending on how RNG it is. But looking back at things like Atlas and whatnot, yeah, it was not fun in the bottom line. You just went every time like, oh, I really hope it happens. But I feel with you on that point, but it's not really relevant to the game, to 14 at least, anymore. Second point, back on play, there's no way to progress the character in any way outside of grinding dungeons for tomes to buy gear, where you do raids. Well, it sounds like you haven't played in a while, because right now, I mean, yeah, I haven't played since 4.0, so I don't know how Eureka works. I mean, we've had a lot of different options in terms of what you can do to actually raise item level. Ultimately, Savage and the capped tomes, and eventually Ultimate for the weapon that's the same item level as the Savage weapon. Those are how you ultimately get to the highest level if you want to get to it as quickly as possible. But, I mean, we'll have, you know, Pagos for Eureka. We have the current Eureka. We'll have the Deep Dungeon. There's always Extreme Primals for weapons. I think what we need at this point is more options in terms of armor and accessories. for the 360 to 370 range, around the time when 370 is still the most relevant item level. But it's still ultimately gets you gear or crafting materials and nothing else. No, it gets you gear. It gets you gear, weapons, crafting material. I mean, it gets you mad materia. Meaty meta achievements. Dude, I want meta achievements so bad in Final Fantasy 14. You don't even know. But there's a lot of achievements in 14. There's just not meta achievements like, you know, kill this boss while never doing this mechanic more than 2 times and stuff like that. I want stuff like that real bad. And third point, there's no reason for a max level player to do fates. Dude, there's barely even a reason for low-level players to do fates. Let's see. Yeah, hunts are difficult to do unless you're in a dedicated hunt like Shell. Well, that's not really a problem. That's content. That's world content. You know what I mean? There's little no forms of world content. Creators to world quests. Yeah, they offer rewards that are relevant. World of Warcraft treadmills you a little bit faster, though, so they can go through their rewards. Or, yeah. And also, oh god, reputation grinds suck. I don't like reputation grinds in any game. At least World of Warcraft gives you 1 useful item, usually with reputation grinds. That shit sucks. But most of the people I know who played Legion say they don't like world quests. Although mostly it's for other reasons. They don't like world quests. Although I think that, well, PvP experience, that's kind of weird. I don't know, dude, it's very different. Like, I think World of Warcraft has this thing where they understand that when it comes to player progression, that they just want to, that's the only thing they want you caring about in their game. Whereas in Final Fantasy XIV, they want you to treat it like an experience. It's a very culturally different thing, which is why there's all this emphasis on creating story cutscenes, why creating reason and meaning behind everything, making these things that don't necessarily progress your character vertically or even horizontally, but bring you together in different ways. Eureka being an example where people meme on it all the time, but people spend tons of time in shout chat, meeting new people, you know, just being more social a little bit there. And 14 tries to create activities like that are more focused on being social and less about making your character stronger. If you really want to be stronger, you'll do the hardest content. That's ultimately what it boils down to in pretty much any MMO. If you want your character to reach the maximum strength, you're gonna just do the raids. When it comes to WoW, there's also legendaries, which people were 50-50 with the way they worked in Legion from the way that I understand. But I do think that 14 could use more forms of progression or more activities that directly relate to progression. But that's because I like progression. And also, I don't agree that you can't play 14 a few hours a day. I mean, I can do Eureka for 3 hours, finish a weapon, get through an armor set, get some elemental levels, get some materia, which I'm going to need for the next major patch in 4.4. Like, there's plenty of things I'm getting there that are progression focused or that I can get done in just a few hours a day. So I wouldn't say that that's necessarily true, that you can't make progress in 14 with a few hours a day. It's all about how you use those hours. Whereas in WoW, you can make very incremental gains over every single day. 14 is all about building towards what would eventually be something a little bit more than an incremental gain. So it's just different things that you're getting done in those few hours a day. But in 14, you can get a lot done. It's just not the same things you would get done in World of Warcraft. All right, question number 2. Hey, Mr. Haps, how you doing? I'm doing good. You doing all right? I'm doing all right. No bonus, but I'm a nice guy, so I have a cookie. I haven't had cookies in a while. It's weird that That's weird. My nose won't stop itching either. Maybe it's because I want cookies. So Rumblborn had us in the lands of Uldag, Gridania, Limsa, Laminsa. Heaven's Word introduced the Holy See of Ishgard, and Stormblood introduced us to Alamiga, Doma, and Authard in general. Where will we be going next? I was wondering if we'd ever go to Mrhappy. I think Mrhappy is a long way away. I think we got to deal too much with what's going on in Aldenard right now. And I think ultimately we are going to Garlemald next. What I feel is going to happen is there's going to be another civil war within Garlemald. We'll be siding with half of Garlemald, and the other half will be what's pushing back against us. And there's going to be some crazy shit going on. We're not going to deal too much. I have a feeling we won't deal too much with the Ascians for quite some time. They'll always be there. They're always the ones pulling the strings for all the deepest, darkest shit that's going on in the world. But I think it's going to be a while before we get super involved with the Ascians again. I'm sorry, not Aldenard. Ilsabard. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the correction. Yeah, we're dealing with Ilsabard. I think that's going to be where our focus is going through the different areas there. It's also a huge undiscovered area for a lot of us, so looking forward to it. All right, question number 3. Hey, Haps, hope everything is well. I'm doing all right. I have 2 questions regarding upcoming loot changes to 24 minutes. Tanks currently have the worst queue, and without the ability to need as an incentive, how do you believe this will impact queue times? I think you're going to see a lot of tanks just say, fuck it, I'm not tanking this. Unless a tank is the only thing they play, you're going to see a lot of tanks try to queue up as DPS, because why the fuck would they take the longer queue when it doesn't in any way guarantee their loot? I really hope in the next live letter they speak about the feedback they got regarding that, because I don't even care about the loot, but the systematic function of Greed All is not one I agree with. Do you think this is something Yoshida foresees happening, provides tanks maybe heals with a bonus because of their roles? I don't think they foresaw it at all. I think they look at the way the Japanese community handles their attitude in 24 bans and made changes based on that. And I just don't think it'll come to fruition. I'm really hoping that feedback has led to something, either not Greed All or something in place of what they are currently planning on doing. Because I'm not a fan. I don't even care about the loot, but I'm just not a fan of the idea. I think lack of tanks is maybe not even lack of tanks. Here's the thing: if less tanks are playing tanks, that means you're competing against less tanks, or you're competing against less tanks. And then maybe your queues are shorter, but you still aren't getting, I don't know. I just don't like that. I think tanks and healers to some degree got dicked a little bit here, and I'm not a big fan of it. So I just hope they have something. I don't know what it is, but I hope they have something. All right, question number 4. Hello, nurse. I'm not a nurse. Participation in ranked feast at all-time low, and queue times during peak hours 30 minutes just for one match. Rival Wing's also completely dead. Yeah, oddly enough, Seal Rock is less dead than Astrologos. I think guys, you should go back to the drawing board on PvP. Can they just listen to the people who actually play it? That's all I want. I just want Screenix to actually take the feedback people have been giving about PvP. Because Astrologos had one very clear issue. Above all else, well, 2, the middle of the map over-contested, and the map itself was completely off balance in the most literal sense, with the north side of the map being superior. The feast, which is another thing you mentioned here, rank decay, something that they've even mentioned by name and said they might do but never did it. And on top of that, they're already coming back on the issue of with the way the Crystal Tower training grounds is designed, where you get up wherever you die, you also resurrect in the same location. They're pulling back on that idea, it seems. So yeah, I don't know, I just feel like they just need to listen to the people who play it. And it doesn't feel like they do half the time. They listen to the people who dabble in it more so than anything else. Because when I think of people who dabble in PvP, those are the people who I think about who complain about the fact that they spawn all the way back at base. Those are the people who I think complain about overly competitive modes, and then they create stuff like Astrologos, which is to put less strain on the individual player and more on the gimmicks of the map, and is less pure PvP. Those are the people who I think about who have suggestions like, oh my god, I'm being bullied in PvP, turn off chat. I just feel like it's the people who dabble, not the people who play it, like who dedicate their time to it, that they listen to when it comes to PvP. And it's not something that they should. Now, some could say they do that with most of the game, and I would agree to some level, but I think PvP suffers from it the most out of any of the other pieces of content. So yeah, go back to the drawing board and just listen to the people who like actually play PvP all the time. I see so many good suggestions that just go completely, or what feels like completely unheard. Question number 5. Hello, Mr. Happy. How you doing? I'm doing alright. You doing alright? I'm doing alright. Was quite some time since my last post, so here's a returner bonus. Some fried dragon tail. Well, it's told it tastes like chicken. Tell me after. Listen, I think dragons and I think chicken, and I think of the chicken that I ate at Howlin' Ray's, and I'm scared. So, thanks, but I'm still scared. Sorry in advance for a lot of text. In a sense, weird question. I took a long break from the game, quit around the Eureka patch. Guess it was a bit burnt out. It's not that long of a break. Dude, Eureka came out like 7 weeks ago. Quit around the Eureka. Unless these are 2 separate occurrences, but that's like not that long ago, dude. I love the game, wanted to return since I've had more free time, but I'm feeling anxious. I'm so far behind that it'll take a lot of time to catch up. New patches really soon. I'm confused. So I'm assuming you took a break, played, and then quit around the Eureka patch. But if the last thing you missed was the Eureka patch, you haven't missed anything. I feel like I'm not understanding entirely. I feel like there's information missing about when you played and when you didn't play. Looking forward to Diadem 3.0, Eureka mindless mobs. I feel like you didn't mean to say Eureka. I feel like you meant to say it was a different patch. So long feels good. Ultimately, it doesn't matter when you take a break. Coming back is just a matter of picking up old habits again. It's like riding a bicycle. You kind of just remember how to fall back into place, how to keep going. And you just pick up stuff from dungeons, stuff from tombstone, stuff from Eureka, eventually stuff from the next Eureka after you finish the first one, stuff from the new deep dungeon. You know, you get maybe it's your savage stuff, or like it's all stuff that you should be familiar with, or you should have been familiar with when you did play, and you're just gonna do it again. And yeah, you're probably gonna have to pug some stuff, but you know, we've all had to pug some stuff at some point or another, and sometimes it's hilarious and sometimes it's frustrating. So I wouldn't be all that concerned. You're just overthinking it. It's a video game. You log in, you play it, and you just take the same directions everyone else is taking, pretty much. That's all it is. You just overthinking it. You just get it's super easy to get caught up in this game. So just log in and do it. All right, question number 6. Hey, Haps, hope you had a nice weekend. I did, but what's killing me this weekend is my nose won't stop itching. I keep doing this, just like trying to itch it from the outside, but it won't go away. All right, Redmade skill like to see in 5.0 the Glamour Dresser, and where's Mavel? I'm not clicking that, because if that says anything about Infinity War, then my chat will kill me. I'm kind of curious what it says. It has nothing to do with Infinity War, actually. It was just, I clicked it just to double check with it off screen, and it was just about where's the city of NT. They just got Vayne Solidor with some new cutscenes and the weapons pack and stuff. So, but the Glamour Dresser was the question I was going to press. Do you think they'll add more Glamour plates? They said they were going to consider it after they saw how the Glamour Dresser worked, or like how well it was received, or what the feedback was, or other changes they need to make. Yeah, I think they will eventually, but not in the immediate future. So yeah, that's my answer. Question number 7. Hi, Haps. Hope you're having a great weekend. I am. Mel went to Disneyland, and I didn't go, so she's having a better time. I gotta work. I've been hearing a bunch of different things lately about FanFest and the next expansion. I hear that we're getting info such over the summer outside of FanFest, and they want to release it in about a year or so. Then I've heard the opposite, that everything will follow the same path Stormblood did. Who the hell is saying we're going to get expansion stuff in summer? Have they played this game for the last 4 years, or did they just start playing in Stormblood? Because literally the only reason FanFests exist is for expansion announcements. Now, that's not to say that Yoshida in an interview couldn't say something about the expansion prior, but you're going to see the teaser trailer at the North American Fan Fest in November. And then they're going to give us all the high-level information, like there will be new jobs, but we'll tell you in Europe and Japan what those will be. There will be new raids, and it'll be this guy, and there'll be new primals, and there'll be new... They'll just basically go over like all the features, and that won't happen until Fan Fest. And yeah, probably around next year. I'd guess around... Leave me alone, Creative Cloud. You guys couldn't hear it, but Creative Cloud was telling me I've got 3 app updates. Yeah, next year will probably be when the next expansion is. They like doing an expansion every other year. And yeah, it's going to go the same path that Stormblood did. It's going to be that way. It's not going to change. They literally said the only reason they do Fan Fests, the only time they schedule Fan Fest is for expansion announcements. We have Fan Fest coming. That's deductive reasoning right there, I think. Makes sense. All right, we got the final question on the forums. Hello, Mr. Happy. Quick question about SteelSeries software. I have an update to do for that as well. I have been using the Rumble 500 for a few months now, and the software works pretty well, but the last few weeks, the mouse config doesn't change when I change the app. I was wondering if something was happening. It usually only happens when your app is out of date. That's pretty much all that is. I would also make sure you didn't accidentally change what your default setting is. A quick misclick could have done that. And that's the only 2 things I could think of. So otherwise, that's something you should just ask SteelSeries, because they do have software support on the website. So be sure to go ask them if neither of those things end up being true. Keep the software up to date, because that's usually the only thing that actually causes those kind of issues. But anyway, that's the last question over on the forums. And so Twitch chat, if you have interesting questions, I'll put them in the video after this point. If you don't, then I'll just cut to the end of the video, and we'll see what happens. So Twitch chat, good luck. All right, so the first question I have from the Twitch chat that I'm going to take is, what would you think about Pagos having locked areas for high-level players that have the best rewards, like a pseudo-open-world dungeon, or would it split the community too much? I think, so there's a few issues we have with this. A pseudo-open-world dungeon that's locked, specifically locked to high-level players. You'd either have to create a sub-instance within the instance to do that, because, ultimately, you can't have it so that players go in there and then that's it. If the rewards, if the thing's already dead, then you're fucked. Like, that's not going to go over well. Also, eventually, almost everyone who's running around Pagos is high level anyway. There's less low level people than high level people at this point. So realistically, you're just making it so the low level people are off, that they're fucked. They can't participate in whatever it is the high level people are participating in. And that creates a big division. I think ultimately for Eureka, they need to make it so people who are high level and low level will play together in the majority of content. I would like to see them introduce more focused goals that aren't necessarily a pseudo dungeon in a sense, just because there's a lot of complications that come with that and the type of content Eureka is. But things that you can decide to do there as your group and not be a part of the hive mind that would be an NM train. I mean, a big suggestion I've seen is people making it so you can turn Pagos crystals into something that lets you spawn a boss, and then your group can go fight the boss off on your own time. That also creates another problem in that if two groups want to fight the boss at the same time, they can't necessarily team up for it. So there are things that I feel like there's room for them to be able to do things that don't necessarily cause one player to interfere with another player, but there needs to be enough of them on the map that players aren't overlapping as often. If they want to do something like that, I think it would require a pretty large redesign of the way Eureka works as an entirety. So, no, I don't think they're going to do anything along those lines. I think that that's the only thing that they could do, but the idea of Eureka is to keep as many people together as possible, or to keep people from obstructing each other in the first place. So that gets a little bit dicey. I don't see them doing anything even remotely similar to what you've suggested, though. All right, another question I've seen crop up from a few different people in the chat. I could not even say one of those words correctly. They're asking about the piercing debuff for Dragoons, and I'm not going to read all. I see like 2 or 3 of them posted in the chat right now, so I'm including this in the video. Ultimately, I think we just need to just do away with it, dude. These debuffs add almost nothing to the actual gameplay because they're pretty much integrated into the rotations. Monk's Blunt, one, A, integrated, and B, is just like only affects you and like the auto attacks of the casters, which no one cares about. And then Dragoon, again, it's baked into your Chaos Thrust combo, so you're never gonna not do it to get to Chaos Thrust. And then with looking at Samurai, you need it to access your Sens. Looking at Ninja, your dot and your slashing debuff are on the same button. You've basically removed their integration into gameplay entirely. They're just debuffs that exist because you want them to exist. They do nothing to enhance the actual gameplay. I say do away with that shit. It doesn't do anyone any good. It just enforces people to only want certain compositions even more without actually adding anything to gameplay. All right, here's another one from the Twitch chat. In the past, you've had sub Sundays where subscribers vote on a game for the day. I've seen some other streamers have specific days set out from the norm for specific games or genres. Do you consider doing something similar? So I'm always back and forth on those kind of things because I'm a very emotionally driven content creator, and I'm also very sensitive when it comes to my emotions. So a lot of the times I need to feel good when I'm doing something. Otherwise, I beat myself up about it a lot. And I'd say that that's kind of a common trait amongst streamers or content creators in general. It's not everyone, obviously, but we're very often driven by our emotions, how we feel about doing something, putting out a specific type of video, doing a specific type of stream. And especially lately, for me, for obvious reasons, I've felt less comfortable than I guess I've ever felt before in doing new and different ideas. I've started to kind of go there. God of War felt actually pretty good to get kind of off track again. This It Lurks Below game that I've been streaming, it's been something that I've only explored for an hour or two a day, but again, it's felt okay. It's just when I think about my responsibilities, when I think about what's right for the channel, when I think about what I personally feel, I feel like none of those things I'm doing right now. And so deviating from it is something that's scary. It's more scary for me than it's ever been. It's been scary in the past. After I moved to Los Angeles, I felt that way again. Like I need to make sure that these things that I'm doing are the best use of my time. And there are things that I want to do. I want to do subscriber Sundays. I want to do days where I just play whatever the fuck I want to play. But I've kind of hit that point where at my reality, I almost can't do those things at the current moment. Just for a multitude of life reasons that I'm not going to get into because it's not the point of the video. I want to do those things, but comfort level has been at an all-time low. So that just plays such a role where I can't bring myself to do those things. I don't know if that's the right answer, if that's an answer that makes sense. I don't know if it's worded correctly, but I can't think of a different way to put it. All right, and that's going to be a wrap for the questions from the Twitch chat. That's some pretty good ones this week, and I took the time to answer just a few that were also not on the were not in the video itself. But thank you, Twitch chat, for asking some pretty damn good questions this week, and hopefully you on the YouTube side enjoyed the answers to those questions. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. If you have a question for Mondays with Mr. Happy, either tune in on Sundays at about 1 p.m. Pacific time, or ask them on the forums, which if you go to the description of the video, you can find them there. I might start saying that at the beginning of the video from now on, by the way. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to hang out with my Twitch chat for a few more minutes on the YouTube side of thing. I will see you on the side of things. I will see you next week. So until then, take care.